So, Mr. Wolf, I
What's
think
going on?
this bears repeating. This is our time of the season where people are giving gifts and this and that. So we like
Mm,
to give the gift of knowledge to our fellow man, right?
yeah,
And this
yeah.
is this is where we check in with you and ask you if you are a Prime subscriber, and probably if you are a person that has 10 fingers and 10 toes. Probably the answer is yes to that question, because
Yeah.
they own the world at this point. So this is where we then ask the second question, because then the Venn diagram is complete. Are you also a gamer? And the answer to that, of course, is yes, because you're watching our show. So then, of course, that's when we will tell you, shut up, fool, stop being a launcher heathen, and go get yourself some games on the Prime Gaming Network here.
At least, look, at least you don't got to overcome your console, your launcher
Uh-huh.
gripe, but
Uh-huh.
at least get the
Uh-huh.
games. They're free, you know?
I
At
mean,
least
I
get them.
mean, if you've seen what they have been dropping as of late, it is bonkers. And
Oh,
it's because it's all in this
I
it's
got them
all in
all.
this quote unquote, there's this celebration of, the secret level anthology show that's coming here. So because of that, all of these games, like all of these games and more, like they're just dropping games. Like it's just wild as many games. Now, some of them they're in various varying levels of AAA to
Mhm.
AA to indie fare and whatnot. But if you loved Warhammer 40K Space Marine and you were like, hey man, I wanted to check out where that first one is, it's right here. You can actually
And,
play it, like right
free
here,
is free.
right?
Free is free, right?
Exactly. And they've been dropping a bunch of games. So before we even get started, I'd say, I think this is a time to remind y'all, and there'll be another thing I remind you of before this episode ends, but time to remind y'all that this is a great resource, and don't be, what did you used to call them? I forget the
Missionary
name. It's been a while.
launchers.
There you
Missionary
go.
game launcher.
There you go. So check this out and get some games. I actually think Epic is also doing their Christmas thing where they like release like one great game after another one in succession, and they have like a countdown and all this. It's a good time to collect a bunch of free games that by and large are pretty great if you don't have them already as part of your collection.
I
I'm
agree.
looking
I
at
mean,
you, all my handheld gamers out there.
there's no reason that you shouldn't at the very least at least download it so that you have it in your back pocket, and that way one day you feel like playing like Dishonored, but you don't want to use the crappy Game Pass app. You're like, let me oh,
Gotta take a moment to add some slander, huh? Good job.
yeah.
All right,
I
all
mean,
right,
come on,
okay,
man. It's one of those days.
okay.
So you can
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
if you don't want to use that crappy Game Pass app, well, you got it in your back pocket on GOG. There you go.
Mm-hmm. On that note, we must say welcome, one and all, to this show that we like to call the Gamers Playground, where we attempt to demystify the monolith known as PCMR, and like to shed some light on the darker corners. You know what I mean?
Ah, here we
Like
go.
to. Oh,
I'm never
Miss
gonna let
MJ
that down.
Dark
Never gonna let that down.
says the man that purchased the PS5 Pro. Exactly.
Guys, I haven't
Because
even
you know why, right? Because he heard that it's supposed to rival a 4090 or whatever.
yeah, right. So I honestly, Kate, like, let me tell you, dude, it's good to be on with you right now. It's been a long work day. Get about an hour and a half to take a break with you, man, and just fart around in here. So it should be fun. But I'll tell you what, since I got the PS5 Pro, like all of the pony stable, they would be really disappointed in me, because I have literally put 3 hours on that thing. It's literally collecting dust right under my feet as we speak right now. So
Wow.
I
Oh my
haven't,
God.
dude. I jumped straight from, and I heard you on Saturday with Everborn, all the games you've been playing. I know, Kay, you've been playing with Indiana Jones, which I'm gonna ask you about in a little bit.
Yo.
I beat Dragon Age Veilguard, and then I'm like, you know what?
Ooh.
I want to
Okay.
jump in another game, okay? And
Mm-hmm.
I started looking through my various devices, and I go, you know what? We had a little I guess you could say a little scuffle in the Discord the other day, right? And
Okay.
with the regulars that we have, which by the way, you guys should join our Discord and our discussions every day, because they're different, they change, they're very informative most of the time. If I'm not talking slander, of course. So there was a back and forth between a couple of members and myself,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I felt like Jordan. They challenged me, man. they told me your opinion doesn't have any weight around here because you have never beat an Atlas game. And I was like, oh, really? Okay. So just like the PS5 Pro, when they throw the gauntlet down at me, I get like that Jordan in me that I'm like, oh, are they challenging me right now? So
okay.
I started playing.
I understand. Hold on here. Before you skip past this, this does not remind me of Jordan. And shout out to FarQ in the chat. Shout out to Infinite Umbra. Shout out to all the great Floodzilla. Where you at, bro? Get in here if you want to jump in here. You are trying to be all Jordan about it. It sounds more like Marty McFly, man. Nobody can call you a chicken.
You know what? I'll accept that. So
now I found your Achilles heel. All I gotta do is call you a chicken.
Listen, nobody calls me chicken, okay? So that was thrown at me, and I go, you know what? That's fine, no problem. I'll take the slander for the day. But what they don't know, okay? This person doesn't know is that I'm currently playing through Catherine. Okay, Atlas original,
okay.
The one that put
Catherine.
them on the map.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Once I beat this game and it'll be my Atlas game that I beat, then I'll be able to join in on the conversation. Because right after that, I'm gonna play through and beat Metaphor Refantasio.
And I mean, of all the Atlas games, I think Catherine is right up your alley. For those who know Mr. Wolf.
It's been very interesting. I'll put it to you like that.
Boy.
It got my attention really early. I'll put it to you like that.
It did. Of course it did. Absolutely it did. Yes. But no, it is a good game, and it's a game that stands the test of time. So it's good that you're trying it. Yeah.
Flood, check in the Discord.
I did send the link. I did send it again. Yeah. But yes, so because we buried the lead, because we're such great hosts here on this show, I'm your host, K Asante, TK Asante, all those places that you find us communicating with each other, whether that be on Discord or X or all those other places. Actually, Blue Sky. If you don't have a slanderous bone in your body, then join Blue Sky, where the sky is blue and the people are friendly for now.
See a lot of people, a lot of people in our community going over there, man.
It's fun. It's real cool. I'm trying to post different things in different places, so it's not like if you follow me in both places, you get the same thing twice. So sometimes I do only a Blue Sky thing, and other times I do only, it's fun. Anyway, the voice you hear, of course, is my slanderous co-host, the man who I have missed having these weekly shows with, but life happens, man. It's a tough situation when you gotta have life, and while you're having life happen, then we it eats into podcasting time.
Hey, man.
Always love podcasting with the man when he's here.
We owe it to the people, man. We owe it to the people. Okay?
Absolutely.
Everybody comes on the chat and supports us, man. Doesn't matter what we're doing. Try to squeeze it in. Pause.
Hey, now, love this community. And speaking of loving in this community, the one, the myth, the legend, the penguin himself.
What it do,
Mr. Floodzilla.
Gents?
There you go.
What's going on, man?
What's up,
know, man. I'm been a little under the weather, but I'm just trying to get better here.
Yeah.
Good thing is, I've got some time to myself, and I'm on vacation, staycation.
Oh, nice.
I've just been chilling out, trying to get better, get some gaming in.
Hey, Flood, I heard, because we talk almost on a daily basis in the Discord. I heard that you're a lot like me. That if you get challenged on something, you're gonna prove them wrong. And I heard you got challenged.
Are you also Marty McFly?
Are you also Marty McFly, or are you more like Jordan? Because I'm more like Jordan, okay? But
yeah, right.
Hey, man, I took it personal. All right,
I'll probably take it personal. Yeah.
Listen, somebody on the chat told us, why are you guys talking about the PS5 Pro if you don't own one? Well, guess what? We own one now.
Then he went and bought one.
Okay, so now we own one. So
that fed right into his pay pig narrative. He bought one immediately.
So Flood, here's the challenge to you, good sir, because I seen you've been going back and forth, and I want you to tell your story a little bit, Kay. Let's take a few minutes. Mr. Flood is now currently the owner of a 4070 NVIDIA Super graphics card. And if you know this man, you know that this was a big deal. Okay, we've been clowning him all week. He has some feedback. Flood, give us your honest opinion.
That's like That's like Jim Ryan, like grabbing an Xbox controller and like playing
Like I felt
Gears. Like,
I felt
ugh.
dirty, man. I felt filthy. It was like, ew, you know.
I mean, you betrayed the the AMD shills. So explain yourself, man.
I just wanna put it out there. This was not a replacement. This was an addition. All right. This was an addition. This is
Sure,
not a
sure.
replacement.
That's what they
The
all say.
XTX is still there
Uh-huh.
and is still in its domain doing its thing,
Uh-huh.
you know, but
Yep,
this was
yep,
the upgrade for the living room space, right?
yep.
So I have it connected to the big screen, and so far it's okay. I would say the Cyberpunk experience has been amazing.
I was about to
The
say, and then Flood turns on
Indiana
path
Jones was a
tracing,
different story.
and then it's over.
So Flood, let me ask you this question: hey, you're a fan of AMD, nothing wrong with that. Okay, we all have our preferences. What is like for anybody listening trying to decide on a graphics card or on a future build or an
Mhm.
upgrade or whatever, like what to you, what would be your selling point of getting an AMD card over an Nvidia card, knowing all the bells and whistles that Nvidia is currently giving customers, and AMD as well, to a certain extent. But why like in your right mind would you consciously tell someone to pick AMD over Nvidia?
Could I do that now? Yes, depending on their budget. So a lot of times people get lost in the fact that AMD and Nvidia are on two different levels right now when it comes to exactly who they're marketing for. Nvidia, you as a gamer, Nvidia does not care about, right? And so if you have the budget for mid-range or budget, Nvidia is probably not going to appeal to you as much as an AMD card would, because AMD is, you're going to get more raster within that budget or that mid-range card. So like a 7800 XT, 7700 XT, they're going to be very solid cards for the price that you're paying. If you're buying a 4060 with that 8 gigs of VRAM, that RT experience is going to be subpar. And so you have to decide, is it worth spending the amount for 4060 when you can get better raster and a better experience on a 7800 XT for roughly the same price?
Okay, I mean it's hard to argue with the man. What do you say?
I mean, I don't disagree with his assertion there, right? And we see the scourge of VRAM being a thing. I won't hate. Jokes aside, we always rib each other on all that. I won't hate on the fact that of anybody that takes Nvidia to task on the fact that they're being very stingy with VRAM, and they're kind of forcing people into the high end cards by always being super stingy with VRAM, right? And of course, games are becoming more and more VRAM hungry, so that is a very very like righteous criticism, like righteous smoke, absolutely. But yeah, I don't disagree with him. Now, to me, the best analogy here is that the Nvidia has started playing the role of Apple, and AMD plays the role of Android. And I'm not talking about their market share or any of the capabilities. It's more about their places in the market, where Nvidia enjoys this tried and true methodology, right? And much
NVIDIA is
like
the
Apple,
black mock turtleneck and the blue
exactly,
jeans.
they're the black, exactly, and much like
Starbucks
Apple,
lattes.
much like Apple, it is rumored that Nvidia has a stockpile of future chips already built, waiting for the next challenger, so they can like look in the crates and go, this one will beat them, and they'll release that, right? So they are like exactly like Apple in that way. So I do think that there is a world where where AMD presents a challenge, but I don't know. They need to stop bumbling so much in order to get there. You know what I mean? They bumble a little too much. I
I
tend to
cannot
be
disagree with you. I can't.
I
I
tend to be
absolutely
one
can't disagree with
that roots for the underdog, But for some reason, I like it's hard to always root for AMD because they just keep, and it's 7 o'clock at night on this show. Yeah, they keep fucking it up. You know what I'm saying?
And to a greater degree, now we have Intel, and we were just talking about this, and I
Mhm.
don't want to get ahead of myself. I know we're going to get there.
Yeah.
He's
But
giddy. He just wants to get to it. Intel. It's all about Battlemage.
no, yes and no. Right now, Intel can't afford any more missteps.
Okay.
Like they are literally on life support at this point.
Mm.
So they have to pretty much go hard or go home. They really can't play it safe.
And hold on, to be more specific, what you're trying to say is they need to be ready day one. It's not like this can come out and then patches and months later. Okay, now we're getting there.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
Day
yeah,
one
yeah.
delivery is what people
Day
are
one
looking for.
delivery on Battlemage, and the reason is because number one, the Gen 1 launch was terrible, abysmal.
Yeah.
The worst you could possibly think of, that's what it was. And then you had two subsequent CPU launches with not necessarily Lunar Lake, I'm sorry, but Arrow Lake, terrible launch. And then you have the issues that are plaguing the Raptor Lake and Raptor Lake refresh, right, for the i9. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of things wrong with Intel right now. So they need a win, and they need a win in a major way. Period.
Yep. And you know what? You were talking about Battlemage, and I want you to really like sell us on its potential excitement and why we should be paying attention to it. But before we get there, I want to take a divergence because this is Intel adjacent. And what am I talking about? I am talking about
Oh yeah.
MSI Claw,
Yep.
which is now on sale and is starting at $799, which is a
Pre-order.
pretty
That's the OG
competitive
Claw, right?
price.
That's the OG
No,
Claw.
this
That's the first one.
no
That's
this
Gen
this
1?
is, this is the
No,
hold on, am I
this
wrong?
is
No, this is the
no,
new Claw.
no. This
Oh,
is gonna
okay.
be this I think launches
Right.
later in December. I can get you the
Yeah.
exact date, but
It's
pre-orders
the
are open.
Claw 8.
Yep.
Here's the website to the Best Buy site. I find that
Yep.
Best Buy site actually like shows it off the best.
There you go.
So as you can see, $900. So what you saw there is the lower version of it,
Yep.
but the one you want is the $900 version. And for that, what would you get? You get terabyte storage, 2 USB ports, obviously a headphone jack. Let's get the full specs of it. Let's see here. So 8-inch screen.
Mhm.
Like I'm at 8.8 inches these days, which I really like that screen.
I'm at 11.
8 is
But go
good.
ahead, Kay. Go ahead. I'll let you have
But see,
that. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, 11 is not
Blood,
portable.
back me
You
up
can't
here.
put that in a pocket. Like
Yes, I
that's
can put
crazy.
You can't put 8.8 in a pocket. What are you talking about, Kay?
I have big pockets. I put my
What do you got,
8.8 in a
Jinkos?
pocket. Anyway,
Jinkos? You're walking around with Jinkos or something?
anyway,
Carrot
anyway.
protein.
Anyway, so the Claw comes with an 8-inch screen, 120 hertz, and it has VRR. I hear, right? I've watched some videos on it, and it's got the Lunar Lake processor, man. It's got the Arc processor. It's got Arc GPU, 32 gigs of RAM.
It's got one more
the-
thing. It's got
What's
one
that?
more thing that really
What's that?
called my attention.
The
And that's-
80 watt hour battery.
Well, that is a plus, but no.
Mhm.
What
that?
is really cool and I find shocking is that out of all the companies doing this, right? Out of all the companies offering with their offerings, MSI seems to have worked directly with Microsoft to make sure that the game bar, the new game bar that's available,
Yes, the
it's
integration.
the thermals, the performance, all that stuff is inside there, like if it's part of the device.
So here's the thing. It's MSI being smart, but it's them kind of catching a win. They have been working with the Game Bar App Store for a long time. I've had the App Store, the Game Bar, even before it turned into the portable mode that it looks like now. Before, when it was like the OG Game Bar, MSI's plugin has been available in the Game Bar for a very long time. When I first built my PC here, when I built my 4090 is an MSI Supreme. So their plugin lets me change colors and stuff in the RGBs and whatnot. So I've seen them been playing in these waters for some time, and because you're already there, and now you have a device coming out that runs Windows, 1 + 1 = 2. What do? You enable that feature.
Of course.
Genius, absolutely genius. Like such a good plus. Like excellent, right? No need to even roll the whole separate software. Yeah, you can have their separate software, right? Their full suite. But no need to roll that separate software when you could just integrate it directly into Windows that's already available.
The reason why this is important, okay, let me tell you the reason why this is important, at least to me. Being lucky enough to test out various handhelds already, the problem with having separate software is that the Steam Deck to this day is still the snappiest when it comes to you press that button, that thing comes up like in a millisecond. That's what people want. And the game bar, for the most part, 9.5 times out of 10, it's going to work like that.
Yep. Now, I will caveat and say, if you want Windows to be just as snappy as that Steam bar, there are tweaks and twerks you can do to get it there. But for those who don't want that tweaking and twerking, yes, they need a better solution, right? You can replace the Windows shell, absolutely, right? That's become the TM statement. Like I've heard a lot of people using that outside of our circles. I'm like, Anyway, but yes, you could replace the Windows shell with another front-end UI. So anytime it boots directly into it. You could do stuff like that, but it does require some knowledge and it requires some modifying. And the solution is it will never be as turnkey or as clean as if Microsoft did it, right? So this integration they're working with Intel, very cool look. I appreciate it.
Seems to me that Valve smells blood in the water.
Bro, we'll get there. We'll get there because that's a big one. That is a big story.
Okay, let me just say this. From messing around, now that we're talking a little bit about the game bar real fast, let me pivot before we get to this. The game bar, it's missing a few things to really set it apart and make it probably the de facto for everyone. If they could figure out, how to integrate your friends from all over the place, like from Steam, from EA, from the EA app, all that stuff. If they figure out how to do that, I think that they got a winner on their hands because, as you know, you can put different launchers in there. You can put different little things, all different games. That's the only thing
good idea.
That missing. And like
that is a good idea.
Like, for example, the Steam achievements to pop up there and stuff.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying there. Like full integration with all other app stores to all be represented within there. That is a good idea. What I think they're missing, the bare minimum I think they're missing, because right now to me that portable mode is literally made for handhelds, right? It's not necessarily for the desktop because the desktop keyboard mouse experience still works, but for those who are using these kinds of handhelds that we have here on screen, that portable mode is literally made for them. 9 times out of 10, with the exception of this 10th one, which is the exception, they're made on AMD hardware, right? Or Intel hardware. Those are the only reference points, AMD or Intel hardware. So why not work with them to get exactly what is in the open source realm right now? Look on GitHub, you'll get a dime a dozen, where all of these pieces of software can be command centers and control TDP ranges. You can set a standard for RGB to control that. Like all these handhelds, they're all different, but they're all the same. They all come with some minimum requirements, right? Many of them come with M buttons in the back where you can do your own custom modifications. All that can be integrated into like a single unified reference point that is the game bar, rather than expecting that the various vendors do their own flavor of it. The more you take out of their hands, the cleaner the OS experience becomes for the user, right? So like make that game bar have plugins that get TDP moving, that can control fan curve, that, all those things that you find in the 1X player command center that you like so much, John Wolf, that should all be like built in as a plugin for the game bar.
Oh, Wiimod is on there for Lucius Augustus if he's in here. Wiimod has an app.
Oh my God, this man. So needless to say, to get back to this device, I'm not sure your experience with handhelds in general, Flood. Does this excite you in any way? Does this entice you in any way? I hear from the reviewers that were lucky enough to get their hands on it, trusted voices like the Fox and Russ from Retro Game Core. They came back pretty impressed. The numbers look to be putting up more numbers, better performance than the Z1 Extreme, right? Which they're touting that like, hey, this better performance than the Legion Go and the Ally X, right? Which is great.
What they're claiming, Kay, is that that the MSI Claw and MJ will know better if he's still listening. The performance that you can get from Lunar Lake supposedly at 17 TDP is the same that you can get on the ROG Ally X at turbo mode. So
yes, which is far insane. Higher. So it's not performance necessarily; it's optimization, right? So
you know why that is?
You can do more with less.
Do you know why that is? Why it's more efficient? Because they're not doing their own fabrication.
That's right. That's right. Is it optimizations on the die? Yes, absolutely. Yep.
TSMC is doing the fabrication, so
yeah,
they are basically doing what Apple is doing, what AMD is doing, and turning to TSMC to do their fabrication because it's a lot more energy efficient in their design.
Yeah,
simple as that. Intel has been stuck on their 10 nanometer node for forever. Took them a while just to get to that point, and they've been stuck there ever since. So,
you know what scares me about this device, guys? Because I think that this is a pretty solid offering. What scares me personally from being super excited and jumping on this thing day one, man, that driver support has me nervous, guys.
Yep. There's the kicker. That is what tends to continue to be their Achilles heel, which is rigorous to show that they are ready to pounce and be responsive to the consumer base every time a driver update is necessary, right?
Because they're going on the marketing, circuit tour right now. What's his name?
MSI, you mean?
Tom Peterson, Tap Peterson, from Intel.
From Intel, okay.
From Intel, and this is strictly regarding Battlemage. So he's been going on the marketing circuit tour specifically about the in-depth tech review, right? So he just did Gamers Nexus. I think he did PC World. It's like he's doing that, and he's basically saying they're very confident in the release of the drivers for Battlemage as opposed to what it was like during Arc, because they got done with the silicon a long time ago and they just took that extra time to get the drivers right. So obviously it remains to be seen, but that's what the Intel camp is saying right now.
See, and the thing that worries me similarly to Mr. Wolf is not even necessarily day one release, because it's happened many a time where day one you've had issues, right? Where you've had a learning experience. That's fine. But much like a live service game that PlayStation decides to cancel after 5 years of development, when they realize that, this thing is not just built it and then I'm done. Now I got to support it for an extended period of time. Right. That is exactly this, right? A new game comes out, you didn't know it's out in 2 weeks or whatever. It runs like dog water on your processor. What do? And usually Nvidia does, here's a patch. Here's another update. There's 2 or 3 in short succession, if need be. And historically, AMD and Intel have been a little slow on the uptake. If you know,
AMD is they do monthly, and you have the occasional one-off, and usually that one-off won't even be Windows certified. So it's basically, install at your own risk.
Good luck.
Here's a problem with the OEMs, right? The OEMs that I have found, Kay, and this is not a problem that our 1X players of the world currently have, is that they are locked down. Like, for example, Fluid Motion comes out, right? For everybody on previews.
Yeah.
The ROG Ally owners and the ROG Ally X owners of the world are there waiting for Asus to do their thing,
Yeah.
for MSI to do their thing,
Exactly.
or Lenovo to do their thing.
Because instead of getting a 7840U like a normal person, y'all chose to go with extreme. So now you
Yep.
got to wait extremely long. Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah, I
literally
mean,
what happens.
That's a fact, you know. And then the thing is
Yeah.
that while on the other handhelds, you're already experimenting and having fun and
Yup.
getting more frames.
Exactly.
You're
Yup.
there on the other device, kind of like saying, "Hey, wait a minute, when are you going to push the update to me?" MSI, Asus, Lenovo, what's going on your side?
It's a big deal. It is a genuine problem. It is a genuine issue. That's why no matter how cool all these devices look, and let me put this thing back on the screen, no matter how cool these devices look, right, until we've had some experience with them, until they've had like some months, a year or two on the market to prove themselves, it's still very much a dubious proposition, if you know what I'm saying. Like depending on if this is your only device or not. And by the way, real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
Before we continue, while we're on this topic, let me share some of share this. This is the footage from one of the previewers that did a preview coverage for that device we were just talking about, and these are their numbers. Where the numbers in red is obviously the Claw 8, and the numbers, the white numbers, is the Ally X. So they are happily touting how badly they're beating these guys. Which, hey, if these numbers prove to be true, that'd be great. But of course, huge grain of salt because it's coming from their own marketing department, so that's different. But if they beat them, awesome. But also, you do realize that the Z1 Extreme was last year's news, right? That the Z2 is like tomorrow, right?
That was going to be my point. Yeah.
Right. That the Strix Point is out here, and a few devices are already out there with them in it.
The 890M is out. Like, come on, fellas.
So the question becomes, how well does this perform against those? Are you back behind the eight ball?
But I'll put it to you like this, though. The one positive that I see from this device is that the MSI is being aggressive with it, and I like that. I like the fact that they said, we're giving you a bigger screen, okay? We're giving you more RAM, because the 24 gigs is still a joke to me. Like, we were laughing about that back then, Kay, and still, whatever. And they also said, you know what? We're also going to match you. Not only are we going to be more efficient than you, but we're also giving you the same battery that these dudes are offering you. So you know what? I got to say, I got to tip my hat to them. Cool. I got to tip my hat to them. The first MSI Claw is in the in the rumblings that we have in our Discord and stuff. It is kind of like the joke handheld that nobody wants. This, I think, is a solid offering. I really do.
I don't like the colors. I hear the control. The speakers are like next level great. Like the front firing speakers are just like notably good, better than most. I also hear that this is based on some of the reviews and previews I've seen. The D-pad is even more garbage than the first one, which is very unfortunate. Right? Yeah. I hear like there's no pivot in the middle. So as they say in that term, it's not very Hadoukenable, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Yes, which is the test of tests, and it fails by and large at that test. So. And my last bit of criticism that I will say to it is, while you can tell it kind of took some learnings from the ROG Ally, right? You can kind of tell it took some of the stylings from ROG, even though it went two-tone with it. What it also took was it took it from the Ally, like OG Ally, Gen 1 Ally, not the Ally X. And because of that, it seems more like a flat slab than ergonomically sound. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Like, and people complained about that a little bit. Like it's for people with bigger hands, it's not enough to hold on to. It's kind of like a flat slab, which could lead to a bit of discomfort.
Hey, that Claw logo is pretty cool though. You guys gotta.
It is.
You guys gotta be honest.
I love the back of this thing. I like the whole thing. I think it's cool. I think it's really cool. It's got 2 USB-C ports at the top, right?
Yeah.
And a USB-A port. They're doing. They are like taking the lessons. They are like taking notes from existing environment, and they're doing their own thing. And I appreciate.
I think this is what I think, right? And Flood, I'm gonna ask you a question after I say this. I think that if this was at Best Buy next to the ROG Ally X, I think that this can get people to look over there because it's a bigger screen. It's probably, the specs are better. I think that if they do that, I think that they can chip away a little bit of market share away. Again, it just depends on if those drivers are ready. So Flood, my question to you.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing the slide that Kay was showing a little while ago with supposedly the performance jumps here.
Mm-hmm.
I know that we talked about it a little bit in the morning, grain of salt material, like always with this preview stuff. What does your gut tell you, man? Are they going to deliver here?
Based upon what I saw, and again, we're only looking at marketing material, right? That's all we have to go on right now is marketing material.
That's all we have to go on. Well, we have marketing material and excitement from the Fox, and to me, the excitement from the Fox goes a long way.
Okay.
That is true.
Because he is himself kind of a hater of Intel for right reasons, right? Because the Intel's been a bit crappy as of late. So
as of late,
I'm being, I'm trying to be a little magnanimous in that. Needless to say, he's had a lot of criticism for them. So him being super excited about it and talking about how he we'll hear more from him soon. That bodes well for it working because he's beyond reproach with his methods and his testing regimen. So if he's excited about it, it might be on my list.
Even though this is marketing material, there is an air of confidence when you hear Intel, basically promoting it. There's an air of confidence. And again, they understand there are no more chances left. This is it.
Oh yeah.
They have to knock it out of the park every single time, or at least come damn near close.
So here's a question, right? Going back to this just dawned on me, and I was looking at right. So it is very aggressive pricing, like very aggressive, right?
It is
higher caliber processor, well, newer generation processor, lower price than say the Ionia racist over here. Now for those who don't know, the Ionia racist, I will tell you this device. I will tell you this device has called my name many times because it's got a lot of awesome specs.
It's a nice device.
I know, but I can't help myself. I can't bring myself to buy the Ionia racist.
But look. By now, the name is. Whatever, man. But the specs on this thing for the asking price, K. There's no way. There's just no way.
No, it's too much. Especially because it's got the 7840U in it. Like, what are you talking about? Like, get out of here with that. Yeah. But the screen is nice. It's got a pretty decent battery. It's all good. I guess what I'm saying is how much competition. Oh yeah, of course. Shout out to the man Everborn Saga. What's going on, brother? And of course, MJ, he already got his coming because you know, handheld king.
He was there day one. He called me all excited. He called me excited. He's like,
just got a laptop too. Like he's going in, man.
Absolutely, that's what he does.
Yeah, and then he offloads it to us, but that's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah,
and then we get in trouble.
So I think a lot hinges on both companies on this one. Flood, you can tell me if you disagree. MSI came out. Face palmed, right? Pretty hard with the first claw to the point where it got to ridiculous. Pusher Dark. That's good. I'm your pusher, man. All right, never mind. So the MSI needs this. It needs to hit in this instance, right? And similarly, we've already described why Intel needs this, right? So let's pivot over to discuss Battlemage a little bit.
Yeah,
because I know you're excited about it.
Okay, let me say one last thing. Like,
yeah, please.
What I would like to see, especially that whenever I walk into my local Best Buy, the store just gets emptier and emptier. I don't know if you guys have noticed that because it's like if Amazon's eating their lunch and then they close down the Blu-ray section. Then they close the game section is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking every time I go in there. Well,
brick and mortar generally is shrinking more and more.
Right.
Yeah.
What now? Why am I bringing this up? what I would personally like to see, I would like the same way that they have all these laptops set up and all this stuff, set up these damn handhelds so that we can get hands on them. Why is the ROG Ally the only one there?
I mean, I will tell you that in the stores near me, there's at least one Best Buy near me, which is a bigger one. I would say, it does have the Ally, and it also has the Legion Go side by side.
Oh, you got more than I do. I only have the ROG Ally.
That was actually the first place I ever got my hands on with the Legion Go. I happened to be at a Best Buy and saw them side by side, and was like, "Hey, this is pretty cool."
But you know what I'm saying, right? It's like if you, it's like if you're buying some narcotics when you walk into Best Buy and you ask, "Hey, let me get the MSI Claw, keep it on the DL." I think we got a few in the back. Hold on, and you're like, "What's going on right now?"
Well, because then they're not paying the Best Buys of the world to put it out in the front street. You know what I mean? You got to grease the palms to make them things come out of the back rooms.
You know, you ask the employee there, "Hey, you guys got any Legion Goes?" They're like, "What the hell are you talking about, bro?"
You know, the Lenovo laptop that's not a laptop, but it has little hand things. Oh, you mean that thing? Yeah, that
exactly.
Thing. So Flood, let's talk some Battlemage here, sir.
All right.
I have tried very hard to find excitement for Intel GPUs. I was almost there, and what got me there?
And he's trying
no, calm down. I'm serious. What got me there was XCSS, right? Their innovations in that space, right? I saw them making a lane for themselves in that lower end market, because even their lower end GPUs were pretty strong. Class for Class was outclassing some of them at very more than reasonable prices, right?
Yep.
And it got to a point even right before all of this ridiculousness with the CPU started happening. It got to a point even where I was like advocating and hoping for that in the desktop, in the console space, that maybe one of them or a third party would show up and run Intel as a disruptor to the market, right? You already have AMD represented. Hell, you have NVIDIA represented, a la the Switch and the Switch 2, right? Somebody like Tencent or somebody shows up with a set-top box or a new console running Intel, but like really like chewing through like high-end games. That would put their foot down. I was excited for that, right? And it looks like they were so close. We were on the cusp of that, and then they pivoted. Well, not pivoted, but they face planted hard once again with all these CPUs and things, right? So I guess my question is, what can you tell me to muster my excitement about these Battlemage chips that are purported to come out? Like, why should I feign any excitement?
On paper, everything looks great, but you could say that about Gen 1 Arc, right? You could say that about the Gen 1 Alchemist, because on paper it actually looked better than the 3000 series on paper. It was supposed to have been on par with a 3070 and ended up being on par with a 3060 as far as the A7070 was concerned. So that was a disappointment out the gate. And then the driver situation just really was just awful. Everything that I've heard, and the excitement from the influencers, especially Gamers Nexus, and they're going to do their own independent reviews and testing and so forth,
and put a pin in the word Gamers Nexus for those who don't know. We're gonna get back to them. There's a story about them today.
They do seem to be on the optimistic side.
Okay.
So that's promising within itself. And again, like I said before, this is like a really do or die moment for Intel, and we really need that third that third player in the GPU segment, like big time, because NVIDIA is not going to cater to the gamer, especially at the mid-range and budget level. They're just not, period. And you're going to continue to get that paltry 8 gigs of VRAM, which you really can't use anymore. So you're going to get a 5060 Ti with 8 gigs of VRAM. Now, and then you're going to be like, why am I paying $700 for 5060 with 8 gigs of VRAM. And I say that, you know, I don't know what they're going to price it as.
And then the 5090 the VRAM will be like 30 gigs or something.
32 gigs of
ridiculous
VRAM on
number.
the 5090, and it's going to be like, you know,
and the 5080 has 8 gigabytes.
$2,000. Exactly. So for those gamers, those PC gamers who are in that $500 range, you know, this is where Intel comes in. But the other problem is that AMD is looking at that market segment too, especially for RDNA 4. They've already said this is the segment that we want to cater to for this generation, right? So Intel does not have any other choice but to come in with low guns blazing. They have to knock it out the park. And again, the optimism seems to be there from what I can tell.
Yeah. Around here we say all DNA, but go ahead.
Stop it.
All DNA.
Don't do that. Anyway, I will tell you, so like once we know more about these GPUs, maybe I'll give a mid-range GPU a shot. I have not bought most folks have owned NVIDIA Intel GPUs by the very nature of them having onboard on their CPUs, right? But I've never bought. That's right. I've never bought an actual discrete GPU from Intel. Not even in the old school days, back in the days, the Voodoo card days and whatnot, right? Like. So
what are we looking at here? Are we looking here, Flood, at a 1080p card?
No, that is a 1440p card, sir.
Okay.
Intel is specifically targeting 1440p as that display range is actually on the rise for gamers.
Yeah, it's a sweet spot because you get the best of both worlds.
Mm-hmm.
So, so how much VRAM are they giving with this thing, guys?
That is 12 on the B580 and 10 on the B570.
So they're even giving you 2 gigabytes more than typically what NVIDIA would give you, right? Because NVIDIA on the lower end wants to give you 8 gigabytes.
Yep.
Even on the mid-range end, right? So what was it? The 3070 was an 8 gig card. And then the 4070, they bumped up to 12. But the 4060 is still 8 gigs, and the TI as well.
I wonder what will happen. Like who will bump NVIDIA in the right direction? Like just like nudge them to start being more competitive in that way. Because it's almost seemingly that based on all the complaints and them continuing to still do that, it's almost like they're doing it on purpose at this point. Right.
Yes, but now you have to remember also now with the 5000 series, NVIDIA doesn't care about capacity because they increased the speed.
That's true.
GDDR7.
That is true. Yeah. Yep.
And this card is going to have do they have AI upscale on this, guys? Is XeSS upscale, AI upscale, or is it more like a AMD?
They say
FSR
it will start. They say it will start to be more. It will be more. What do you call it? NPU backed in the newer cards, right?
So we're in the pisser days. Okay.
We're in the days of the pisser.
The days of the
MJ Dark, $5 super chat real quick. He says, "Do you think that the old CEO from Intel gone, that they can get someone to make them relevant again? Also, Flood, I know you love DLSS.
You know what's going to happen to you, Flood? Now that you have tasted the sweet water from the Fijis and you go back to the swamp, it's going to be very hard for you to adjust.
The swamp.
Very hard. When you see the sludge in the water again, you're gonna be like, "Oh man, maybe I made a mistake here. I don't know."
Not at all. When I tell
Jesus Christ.
I'm hoping if Battlemage is as good as they think it is, and that B770 drops. The only reason why I got the 4070 in the first place is because all signs were pointing to that the B770 was not coming. Now I'm hearing it definitely is. It most likely is gonna appear sometime next year. So I was like, all right, I don't want to wait anymore. Let me just get this 4070.
4070.
So I did, right? And so far, it's been a good investment. But if that B770 drops and I get what they're promising me, I'm selling at 4070.
But you're not gonna get their offerings this week. I think when is launch day? On the 13th, I think I saw.
That's the 13th for the 500 series, right? So
That doesn't
Mhm.
interest you. You're looking at the
no,
700
I'm not.
series.
I'm
Okay.
not going for that. No, right.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay.
Excellent.
I mean, we got to keep an eye on it, and like you said, all eyes are on them to deliver day one, and these things
You
are
got
going to be
it,
performant.
but that's the thing too. You got to pull for them, or do we really want Nvidia? They've already ran away with the market, right? And so they can pretty much
we want to
dictate
pull for
whatever
them,
they
but
want.
we want to pull for them,
But
but
they
they
gotta
must
help
also pull
themselves.
their own weight, right?
Yeah,
They must also
I
pull their own weight.
wholeheartedly agree with you.
Yep.
We
And
want these
historically,
guys
they
to do
haven't been
better,
particularly great, you know.
you know.
Yeah. But all right, let us move on. Let us move on and talk about some more happier news. I
Flood,
don't know
you're
about
gonna-
happier.
Okay, let me
Okay.
ask Flood real fast. Okay, Flood, I know you're feeling under the weather. You're good to go, or you wanna?
Yeah, please.
Oh, yeah. Let's keep it going, man. I'm good.
Okay. Okay.
Excellent,
Let's rock.
excellent. So let's quickly talk about the plans that Valve seems to have to take over the world here. It's looking like they've been kind of bubbling in the background for a minute, like
This is
in the
big
lab,
news.
just working on it. Yeah.
This is big news, guys.
Yep, and I actually saw this PDF document that they have. I have the 2017 version, and they've definitely upgraded it to add powered by. There's a lot of stuff they've added in addition to powered by. They've added like many different things to VR. They've added many different things to very different aspects of their current business to allow for more third-party inclusion. But what makes people surprised is this powered by logo, which basically all but says it is now going to be put into it's coming to devices that are not built by Valve. Now, the funny thing here is this is old news, right? People are excited about this, and I am excited about it too. But if you've read even a bit of the Valve website, they told you from day one, the Steam Deck launch, that they will eventually allow it to be available to all devices.
That is correct.
They told you that they in the future were going to allow it to be installable on generic, even desktop PCs.
That's how they
from
expand.
day one.
That's how they expand and
That's
get
what
more
I've been
market.
waiting on all this time, man.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is just them following through on what they'd promised, right? Last we saw on the there were one of the I think his name is Lawrence Chang is his name. One of the makers of the Steam Deck. They were asking him about the future plans, and he was saying that they were still working on Steam Deck OLED, and the same people that were supposed to be working on porting the operating system and making it usable across the board, the compatibility team, are the same people that are making the Steam Deck OLED. So presumably, they were finished there, and then they moved on, and now we're seeing that there's more forward momentum here, right? So, Flood, I'll ask you first, sir.
Mhm.
Is this the coup, the slow walking coup that you've been waiting on all this time? Are you
Yes.
going to rip off your shirt, revealing the penguin beneath, ready to stomp all over Windows and take over the market?
You think he's Hulk Hogan or something? He's gonna go in there
That's
and rip
right.
off his shirt?
They've been waiting since the 80s to be like, it's our time. And,
Let me
and
tell
it
you
looks like
something,
it's their
man.
time.
Let me tell you
I went
something,
up
brother.
to the SteamOS mountaintop, brother.
And I looked down and I saw that one day the day is coming.
But no,
What do you think?
I think they knew what they wanted to do in 2017. Proton wasn't there yet. I think everybody
Yeah.
knows that. It just was not there. It has matured so much to the point where vast majority of games, and notice how I choose my words, vast majority of games,
Mhm.
you can just launch and they will play.
Without
Right,
anti-cheat.
Yeah, without anti-cheat. That's right.
Right.
Yep.
So,
Anti-cheat.
Oh,
and-
yes. Thank you. Not Chang, Yang. Thank you very much for correcting me, BT Maverick 707. Great corrector of our community,
He's got
Lawrence Yang. Thank you.
Dang. Right. So, I I'm looking forward to it. Will this take away market share from either Xbox or PlayStation? that remains to be seen. Again, it's because of those black hole games that we've had our discussions
Mm-hmm.
on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
That
you're
is the major
oh,
factor.
so what you're saying? Whoa, you're going way beyond what I thought our discussion was going to be. So you're already kind of in the Everborn realm where in Best Buy, when I walk in, I'm gonna have the Xbox aisle, the PlayStation aisle, the Nintendo aisle, and the Steam aisle, where you'll be able to get your Steam box and different variations, etc., etc. Is that what you're saying that you kind of
I
think that
see
this
that
is going?
eventually. I don't think that will happen initially. I think initially your Steam box is going to be in the same aisle as your Dells, your Lenovo's, your HPs, and things of that so forth. But if it gains enough steam, it may get, get
See
its
what
own
you did there?
designation. But I don't see that initially.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So, Kay, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question. When I see this, right, I automatically think that they're moving in. What I think Valve is seeing here is that okay, we got a bunch of manufacturers that are bringing out Windows devices. Even though that Windows is obviously you can install Steam, and that's probably everybody's gonna go to Steam. Let's be honest with you. They still want to be the center of your universe, just like everybody does, right? So, is this them? Do you think that this is them recognizing, hey, it's time to do this because all of these devices are launching with Windows and we don't want to lose kind of the thread here? We want to start launching maybe what the goal is to convince MSI to bring out the MSI Claw Windows variation and the MSI SteamOS variation, for example. Do you think that that's
Absolutely.
what we're looking at
Yeah,
here?
that is their vision, right? And it's not that they woke up one morning and saw that it's time. They've been on this path since the Steam machines. Like most people don't remember. Like people consider, and this is why people sometimes call me a Steam fanboy, because I appreciate the way they move. Even their mistakes become learning lessons that then empower and inform their next inventions and innovations. What Mr. Everborn Saga saying, I think the power of SteamOS will be partner-owned shipping and marketing their hardware, their gaming hardware with SteamOS instead of Windows. And that is indeed a true statement. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. So the reason why I am such a fan of what Valve does is, like, for example, people will poo-poo and laugh off the Steam controller, but if it wasn't for that Steam controller, the Steam Deck would not be half, and Steam itself would not be half as good as it is as far as from a controller standpoint.
Because of Steam input.
Because of Steam input, exactly. Yeah. Which they basically use to get the community to build them like millions, like get people used to using it, and also build this insane database of control schemes for like every game, right?
Yeah.
Even games that historically don't work on controller, there's like community driven things. And that of course powers Steam Deck, which will then of course power any other handheld device that comes out in the future that they come out with, or even a set-top box that has a regular controller input.
You want to know if these OEMs are smart that what they would do, to be honest with you? Think about this, because you know that probably the CCPs are going to do this first, okay? I guarantee you that they will be the first ones to say, you know what, you don't have to choose. 2 terabyte drive, you have both Windows and SteamOS on it. Enjoy. Pick whichever one you want.
See, my question, and we won't have an answer unless somebody, MJ, maybe you know somebody who can provide an answer for us. The smaller creators, the CCPs as you call them, I wonder what their licensing with Windows looks like.
Right.
Because every device comes with a Windows license.
Right, but that's an added cost. And that's an added
Exactly.
cost to them that then they have to flip over to you.
But it's only an added
the
cost
reason
to a certain size, if I remember.
Well, but that's the thing, right? If you're 7 inches or lower or smaller, it's quote unquote free, right?
Right.
But like for example, my AOK Zoe A1 Pro was 8 inches. My Z1, my not Z1, my 1X Player X1 Mini here is 8.8 inches. That is beyond the threshold.
We have to remember something. We have to remember something. Here's a little key thing that is huge. Nintendo is about to set the benchmark right now that if you do anything lower, then the suggested Switch 8-inch display, you're going to be seen as an afterthought. That's just my opinion.
No, you're not wrong. And MJ Dark with some pertinent information saying anything under 8-inch display and Windows is free. But what about an 8.8-inch display? Not 8, 8.8, right? There are a few variants. No, exactly. Yes, we understand that 8 is, but the more and more devices are now bigger, right? So that law, that rule that used to govern that was fine is now being encroached on. Because my One X player right here tells you that, because they won't go, well, it's only 8 inches or smaller, but we'll allow you to have 8.8. No, you've breached that, right?
Here's another thing.
And Mr. Wolf has the 11-inch model, for example. So in those larger sizes, is there licensing cost to them? I would presume there is. And I guess the point I'm trying to drive to is I'm almost positive, because we won't know till we get there, but I'm almost positive that Valve will make sure that thing is delivered to ohms and consumers at no cost.
Listen, Michael, I just want to say that my 11-inch 64 gigabyte monster gives Kiyosanta nightmares, and he has a PTSD because of it. So
sure, okay, great.
Let me just say this, Flood, and I'll let you jump in now because you were going to say something.
Go ahead.
I think that this is very interesting what we're going to see here, because these OEMs, the biggest hurdle that I think they have to really reach the masses with this device, with the devices that they bring out, is that they need to cater towards an audience that is like, this is a gaming first device, and the SteamOS makes that a possibility, whereas the Windows devices, it's just a PC in your hands. It's just a PC in handheld form, and it still has all the hurdles that you have to go through in that world. But do you know what's so interesting though, guys? The thing that's so interesting to me, and I this is just, and I know folks will, and I know Everborn is in here. Oh my God, get out of here, Mr. Ayo. I know he'll take issue with what I'm saying, but if you think about it, I think I'm onto something with this, which is the fact that right now, right, you have either a hollow ISO, not the third party GitHub variant, but the version of SteamOS that's currently on there is called a hollow version, right? That version is, and Lawrence Yang spoke to that fact, that version is so geared for Steam Deck, kind of like the way Mac gears the Apple gears their Macs towards their hardware, to the point where it won't run righteously on anything else but their hardware, right? Is it Yang or Chang?
It's
Yang.
Your
Yangs and your Changs are a little.
Calm down. Now you're getting you're getting pause worthy. Calm down. So on the flip side, you have Windows, which is compatible with everything in their mother, but of course they don't have a great UI, right? You would think, now here's where I'm sure I'll get pushback, but I really think this. You would think that Microsoft has a shorter road to success than Steam does, because getting compatibility, like unified compatibility, takes years of work. Microsoft can attest. There's a reason why Microsoft refuses to leave Windows behind, because they've built up that database of driver sets and support for so long. It takes a lot of maturity to be able to be confident that any hardware you just install Windows on, it just works, right? And by and large, 90% of the drivers are just there, just ready to go, right? That takes a long time to build up. That's also an issue, though, right? That's right. That's also the issue.
That bloat that comes with it because of those generations upon generations of hardware
brutal
that it has.
Yeah. Well, but you know what? I don't necessarily think that the bloat comes directly from the historical driver support aspects of it. I think the bloat comes from them not wanting to shake older components of Windows, right? Windows can be very modular, and you know what? It has been proven in the community right now, because you can still go find a copy of, say, Tiny 11, for example, and install it, and the whole thing is under a gig. And it runs like freaking butter. It loads up in seconds, right? Nothing, absolutely nothing is on that operating system. Not even Xbox is on that operating system. You have to use the App Store to install anything and everything you want, right? But what that does is it keeps the operating system streamlined. You only install what you need, right? So is it a possibility? Third parties, like people who aren't even incorporated or whose job it is to do this, have taken it upon themselves to do this and streamline Windows for a minimal use purpose, right? Microsoft can do that while still retaining all the driver support it's always had, right? It doesn't necessarily, look, while others think that Windows needs to be thrown away and gotten rid of and all of this, I still, and we had jokes about this a little earlier, but I believe things like WeMod and mods and things like that, and anti-cheat and all of that will always keep Windows relevant, right? Valve has not solved all those problems, and some of those problems are very hard for Valve to solve. It's not a simple solution. Right?
Monumental.
Exactly, right?
Yeah,
But
monumental problems. So
because of the nature
Windows
of
will
that they're
exactly,
using, right?
yeah. So Windows will always have a place. I just want Windows to work better. And vendors and open source folks have shown that it is possible. It's just Microsoft that now needs to, if nothing else, steal their work.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, the thing is that the game bar is a good step in the right direction of kind of the uniformity that we're looking for, right? The biggest hurdle for Valve, in my opinion, and we talked about this the other day on Discord, for these OEMs they're gonna have a tough choice here to make, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because the gamer that's going in to buy these things, automatically by choosing SteamOS, you're giving up some big black hole games. It is what it is.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
So
yeah, absolutely.
If you have a kid that wants this thing and the mom is buying it for them, automatically out of the box, you're not playing Fortnite. That's a problem.
Yep.
No
So-
Fortnite, no Roblox.
No
that-
roadblocks.
That can be the difference between the Best Buy employee telling mom, "Hey, get your kid the ROG Ally X because it has traditional Windows on it. You don't want this thing with SteamOS because you're logged in. I mean, you're locked into their ecosystem, right? And you don't have these things." So this is going to be very interesting because somebody said this in our group. It seems as much as we want to give and we should give credit to Valve for creating the Steam Deck and Steam and SteamOS, which is theoretically Steam Big Picture mode, you know, they set the reference design that we all want Microsoft to copy. And the problem is, the reason that we want to do that is because that is the selling point of PC gaming. It is the freedom to go and pick and choose where you want to play and what, app store you want to buy from, right? That and the thing is that automatically the Steam Deck and SteamOS is automatically for Steam players. And again, the majority of us are that, right? And we're most of the time we're going to choose Steam to buy our games. But again, you need to have all the games there, and they currently don't have these big ones.
Yeah.
Yes.
If this makes any sense, because the last thing I'll say, if this makes any sense, because I think that Steam is so successful, guys, that we automatically think that they have no hurdles to jump here, or not that many. And the reason I question that is because if you look at the top played games on consoles, there are these black hole games that if you don't offer them and you're trying to pull away from that audience, like the Switch and stuff like that, you need to be able to offer at bare minimum these top games there, because or else they're not going to give you a chance. They're going to be like, no, I'm not going to give up.
Though?
I'm not going to give up my Switch that plays Fortnite for a Steam Deck. I don't care how many games is on Steam.
So my only bit of pushback to that is, right now, by any and every metric, the Steam Deck is a success.
Absolutely.
It's sold less than,
Absolutely.
that it's sold less than 10 million copies, right?
Well, and I think that's a success for them,
around 6 or 7 million or something like that.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm saying in that realm is they are not coming for the king. They don't need to yet.
I get that.
Much like Intel, you come for the low end cards. Get a foothold, right? Like they did with their website and the Steam Deck One, and now Steam Deck OLED and all of this, right? then they get a little closer, then a little closer. All the while, Nintendo will continue to enjoy what Nintendo enjoys. They're not coming for the king, right? It's not the same market. It's a different market, right?
Absolutely.
They're speaking to you and me who
Absolutely.
like taking our PC games on the go with us, right? But eventually, as it matures, yeah, they're going to start gobbling little by little by little. In 10 years, 15 years, maybe it's a different conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the gamer that this initiative like is calling is those that want to have their Steam library on the go, and those that want to tip their toe in PC gaming. And
Sure,
I think
yeah.
I think that they have all but done really well in that segment. For them to take it to the next level, and that's that really give me a choice between my PlayStation, my Switch, my Xbox, or your Steam box. You need to figure out these black hole games. I just think they need to.
And not to be outdone, I also did point out another flaw that we may have missed over that bears repeating. It's hard to get compatibility right. It took Microsoft many years, and that's probably why they refused to let Windows be depreciated, because it took them a long time to get that done.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Valve will not be able to support your Legion Go and your ROG Ally version 1 and your ROG Ally X and your this device and your bespoke that device and all these other while they're all just perfectly running. It could get a little messy because you're used to running all those things on Windows, and guess what? Windows just supports everything. You take it for granted and get mad at how bloated it is. When you come across an operating system that's not so vastly supporting things, you will miss the days of Windows if we're not careful.
I'll give you an example, right? You guys know I game on desktop Linux as well. So
indeed,
the distro I'm using which is Manjaro at the time. They had just put out a major update because they do a rolling release. So I said, okay, cool. New kernel release, got new GPU drivers, everything. So updates, I reboot the machine, everything looks great. I go to fire up my game. My controller no longer works. I reinstall the drivers for my controller, the firmware for the dongle, firmware for the Xbox controller, for the kernel. Dead. Come to find out that it is a fork of the original Xbox Drive driver. So because of that, the caretaker of that particular driver stopped updating it prior to the kernel version that I was on prior, and so now that it's completely broken. Check forums, everybody says, "Oh, no longer works." So I'm pretty much dead in the water.
You see?
Unless I roll back.
This is what it is, right?
Yeah, these are the things you have to deal with.
Yes.
But,
see,
I like something that you said. I like something that you said. I like something that you said. And you made me think about this while Flood was talking about his hard times with Linux, but that's for another day. I do think that Valve, I think you are correct. I don't think that their aim for this is to take over overnight. I think that this is being rolled down in stages. Stage one, release something kind of like a reference device with the OS and all that stuff to kind of to see what the appetite would be like for something like this out there, right? For all intents and purposes, they set the benchmark that every OEM started copying, right? So that was successful for them. So maybe their next initiative is to let's give console gamers something to think about if we offer them something. We're not asking to be your primary platform. We're just asking you to give us a chance.
Yeah. Maybe they partner with all these what do you call it, mini PC vendors, and now you start seeing them coming out left and right on Amazon for a few $100, and each of them has SteamOS just kind of floated in there, like. And we can finish this topic and get off of it, but I think the last port that we should discuss, which Floodzilla, what are your thoughts on this? Is this, and that's why I was jokingly making that assertion at the beginning of this, is this the way that Linux finally gets a foothold in gaming in a real way? with SteamOS proliferating it everywhere. Because if you think about it, Steam Deck started day one, and when Steam Deck started, oh my God, what a novel device! This is awesome. This is great. But it took like 6 months, and then all of a sudden there were all these apps that were being built dedicated for Steam Deck use to make it better, to make it more seamless of an experience, and integrate other app stores that weren't supported at launch. Right? If now all of a sudden we see SteamOS be the rule of the roost, if, as it were, you have PC handhelds offering it, you have mini PCs offering it left and right. Does this lead down the path where we see Linux like chewing double digit, and I'm talking 20, 25, 30% market share finally from Windows?
Are we saying what I think we're saying? Is this the year of the Linux desktop?
But this is what I was trying to tell you, man. This is why I asked you. Is this the day you rip off your shirt and reveal your penguin shirt underneath? Like, what's going on?
I don't think so, brother. You first of all, okay. So the quote unquote year of the Linux desktop has been a long running meme for I don't know how.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, since I was running Ubuntu. That's right.
You know what I'm saying? It never happened, right?
Yeah.
Never happened.
He said 20% you smoking something. hey man. I know he's secretly in the background hoping that Mac rekindles its gaming fires. Y'all can both hope.
Definitely not going to happen. They are not taking it seriously. That's a whole nother conversation.
That's a whole different thing.
That's a whole nother. I don't even want to get started on that. But if Valve doesn't do it, nobody's going to do it. Period. It's for Valve to do. It's for Valve to own, and it's for Valve to run with it because nobody else is going to do it.
Yeah.
And
you know what? For you, Mr. Wolf, here's a question.
What's up?
With this happening, with the us talking about it, people are opening their eyeballs wider in that meme form when they saw the powered by SteamOS. Did someone at Microsoft shake a fist in the air and go, "Oh, son of a bitch, we got to work faster," or was this one of those other memes where he woke up, saw it, and then put the covers over him and went back to bed?
I think obviously they're paying attention, and I think that they anticipated Valve to eventually, floor the gas. Look, man. I think that we have all learned that Microsoft does things at a snail's pace here, and I wish that they just understood that the reason that we are so kind of like gun ho for them to do something is because we would prefer, at least a lot of our circle would prefer, to have an offering from them instead of from Valve to be our answer here. Because again, the beauty of PC gaming, and you guys and you gentlemen correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to be locked in a wall garden. You will do that, even though Steam is the business. I love it. Universally everybody does. It is the de facto. You're still locking yourself into a walled garden.
Yeah, and I don't think another rosy handcuffs.
That's the entire point of PC
exactly
is that freedom, right? You have that freedom.
And I feel like the choice, the selling point to at least our circle, why you don't get a Steam Deck is because you want Game Pass, you want, and all these other stores that you get, right? So we just need Microsoft to really take their head out of their whats and come on, man. You have the reference design there. Let's get to it.
I'm sure they've had. Phil said the handheld was years away. I think he said that facetiously. I think they have.
So you don't believe that? You believe it sooner?
I'm not saying it'll come. I'm saying they probably already have the reference design. They've been working on that for a while. I'm sure they've been working on that for a while, right? In the same vein as you think of Surface devices, and the whole reason why Surface existed in the first place, right? To provide a reference design for all the other OEMs. And the thing is, with Surface, you get better specs with your OEMs and you get better pricing with the OEMs. It's just that, their whole thing was, let me give you a solid reference design. I will overcharge you so that, the consumer base looks at your product first, right? And
Yeah.
I think
Overcharge you and put last gen chips in it, like sons of bitches.
exactly. And I think they have something like that already, or it's maybe it's still on the drawing board table, or at least in the lab being tested and worked
Yeah, I'd be
on.
very surprised if they don't.
Exactly.
Right?
It's
I would bet
already
there are
there.
multiple iterations of that device to find that one.
I think it's already there. So, when Phil says, that's years away, yeah, you kind of take that with a
Well,
grain of
I
salt,
mean,
right?
think about it, right? If he says it's years away, and let's say for the sake of argument, they show it off this year, right? Show off just a sneak peek of it, and then go full bore and show you a bit more next year, and then show you a bit more late like next year, and then tell you it's coming out spring 2026. Has it not been a few years?
True.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So
Yeah.
there you go.
So-
it is what it is.
So I mean, with all the moves that they've been making, you can almost you can almost certainly guarantee that they're going to give you an option to play across the board, because they need to kind of offset the fact that they're putting their games everywhere, right? And I think that is the way that they offset that, and it's going to make sense to us one day. We're just not there yet. I just wish they would show something.
I agree. But you know what? Let us move on to our last story of the day. And this last story, the great Floodzilla, when he's in here, he makes great references. He mentioned Gamers Nexus. We call them Tech Jesus around here.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, that's right, Steve.
Yeah, but you don't want to be called by this Jesus. If
Oh,
you
no,
get
you
called
don't-
to the
you
red
don't-
carpet, you're done.
You are, bro. When they come after you, they come after you. And of
Yeah.
course, if those who have watched this show long enough, remember we've had these guys on this show talking about what they we've had their some of their stories on the show, rather talking about what some of the exposés they put out there. Notably, a big expose was on ROG and how they had some shady practices in servicing RMAs and whatnot, right? So Tech Jesus took him to the carpet, and by and large, it looks like the mea culpa is happening and has sustained. We're waiting to hear anything bad. So far, that has not happened. So shout out to ROG and Asus for bending the knee that way. But now,
Yep.
Tech Jesus has set its sights on NZXT. And what's going on here for those who may not be aware? Basically, NZXT has had this initiative or had this new business model where they've been trying they've been using social media influencers, specifically YouTubers and the like, to basically say, hey, for those who can't afford buying a top end PC, how about you rent one or you lease one, right? And I'm saying this, I'm paraphrasing because it's hard to quote because it just changes so much. They'll say it's lease to own, but then you read the fine print and you can never own these devices. They say it's a very high end device, but then you'll sign up for that device, and then the specifications of that device, the GPU, the CPU, the specifics of that device will change. The components will be changed out without telling you, right? You'll get the, I don't know, the Gamer MP1, which is their high-end model, only to find out later that they swapped it out for the mid-gen version or something like that, right? After you sign your contract for whatever length of time, and there are no commitments in there, you can cancel anytime. There are definitely commitments. There's definitely a contract you have to sign. And oh, by the way, after you've signed your contract for these terms, you more often than not, they increase the price of the device you've already purchased and you've already signed your contract on.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Yeah, so they are and then of course I was just about to say, but Lucius beat me to it. This business model, as Lucius is saying, this business model targets poor and young people. The lease program goes up randomly in price. You never own the device, and within 5 years, of paying month to month, you end up paying 3 times the price.
That's
that was
crazy.
a very that part right there, right?
Where's Lena
It's
Khan?
exactly like a
Where's Lena Khan?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's exactly like how phone plans used to be, right? Back in the day, before T-Mobile came in with their uncarrier crap, which revolutionized the whole thing, right? Like they would build in the price of the phone into your monthly plan, and as long as you have your monthly plan, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you finish paying for the phone, and you just keep paying, and the phone.
I
ends
got
up
a better
costing
one
you
for you.
thousands of more dollars.
I got a better one for you. How about this? How about this thing where these devices like cell phones and alarmos don't come with chargers? What? Are you kidding me right now?
Yeah. We see what you're saying. So, needless to say, the story here is basically Tech Jesus, which this is another reason why I said we would reference him again. We on this show here like to recommend you follow great creators that do great things. I love PC. I love tech in general. I can't sit there with sensors and go deep pause on all of the technology all the time. You know what I'm saying? So exactly. A man's got a job, a man's got kids, and a podcast, 2 of them, right? So and a website we're running. So all that leads to not enough time to get exhaustive in technical speeds and feeds and analyses, which these are the reference designs. When your Lord and Savior Digital Foundry needs even more help or needs even more detailed data-oriented analysis done, who do they call? They call Gamers Nexus. They did that on the PS5. They've done that on the Xbox.
His name is Steve, right?
Steve, yes, his name is Steve.
Steve is gonna have to contact Marvel and say, "I'm taking. You won't like me when I'm angry." From you guys.
That's right.
Because
that's
seriously,
right. Yes.
This face right here with your logo next to it, you don't want to see that.
You are SOL. You are donezo.
Yeah.
You are. There's an executive with their hands between their legs, mea culpaing on their knees in your future.
This
the minute
is
you see this logo,
literally the marketing department walks in and tells the CEO, "We got a problem."
Yeah.
That's
why is that? Just so folks understand what is it. Why is that? Because Gamers Nexus has 2.35 million subscribers, and that's just the YouTube channel, not to mention the website. Oh, and by the way, this video that posted 2 days ago has 1.3 million views, right? When he picks up the phone, he calls Congress, he gets legislation passed.
They they called BS on the largest tech YouTuber.
Yep.
Which would be
and brought him to his knees.
Brought him to his knees.
Yes.
Bro.
Absolutely. So when Tech Jesus comes for you, you better watch your back. So needless to say, this is a second in the story. Absolutely, this is a second in the story. To the 358 folks on X and on YouTube and that one individual watching on Twitch. Shout out to you. If you hear the sound of our voice and you like tech or you want to investigate more tech and you come to us for good tech resources, watch Gamers Nexus. Subscribe to Gamers Nexus.
Don't get too excited.
They are the GOAT.
They are. And don't get excited about that Twitch viewer. That's me. Now just
I
just messing with you.
But needless to say, they had an expose on all these practices that I just described about NZXT, and usually the fun part about this is when they do this, you have two ways to go if you are the business, right? You go one path, which is immediate. Hey, Bob, you get paid the big bucks. Get on your knees. Stay on your knees. Walk all the way on your knees to wherever Steve is, and continue to be on your knees and talk to him and apologize.
This is quite an episode.
Hey yo,
I'll tell you that much.
Hey yo. No Diddy, pause, hey yo, let's move on. Okay.
Where's the baby oil?
Right. Yeah, I forgot that one. I'm sorry. I forgot that one. But the other fork in the road is fight it. And people were confused. And people were not understanding what we meant and trying to kind of sidestep their responsibility instead of owning it.
That is
that's what NZXT is doing right now. So of course that's what leads to this face, right? Like see, this is his bullsh response. You know what I'm saying? Like it's gonna get heated, and he's gonna come after you until eventually you end up with that executive on his knees.
Yeah,
Hey,
no.
yo, no Diddy. Pause.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yes, that is what's going on here. So I guess I say all this to say, if you have been wooed by the cool NZXT branding and some of their cool designs and all of this, I would be very dubious and very careful of NZXT and their practices as of late.
You know,
because
you're saying
we here
that right
on
now?
the show.
Oh, you're saying that right now, and my cooler is NZXT, and so is my cake. So am I sitting on a ticking time bomb here?
No, I don't think so. We haven't heard anything about their hardware as itself being faulty. It's just their services and their practices seem a little shady.
The hardware is solid. They do provide a solid product.
Yeah. Now, we here on this show cannot be accused of not keeping the same energy, because when ROG and Asus was being shady and have been shady, we gave them the business, even to a detrimental degree to where my co-host started disagreeing with me. But I think he and I can be on the same page in saying we have to keep the same energy. So we would highly recommend you not frequent NZXT until the inevitable Tech Jesus video comes out where they're on their knees, which is probably days away at this point.
Or if they make a ROG Ally X and then you forget about everything.
Sure. But yes, they need to be called out, and shout out to Steve and the Gamers Nexus crew for doing so, and that's why I'm always an avid viewer of their content. You know, if not exposés, they even in general they do just awesome reviews of all the tech that you like and all that. So this has turned into an ad for the Gamers Nexus.
If Blood
has Steve, unabashed.
Has Steve cracked open the PS5 Pro yet? Because I'm curious to see what he says.
No, not yet.
Not that I've seen. No,
I've been waiting for that.
No.
I have been, because they cracked open the PS5.
Yes,
yeah,
they did it for the base PS5. And if you remember that video, and that was, I think that was during.
They
launch.
even did it for the mid-gen. Remember when they changed the coolers and stuff? Yeah.
The base PS5 video caused a lot of controversy. That was a controversial video.
Are you saying that they're gonna be pissing when they check the pisser? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. After they check the pisser, they're gonna have to go to the crapper.
Oh man,
I'm sorry. I'm a little peckish today. It is what it is. What are you gonna do? Anyway, but no. And to be honest with you, until this crazy Gamers Nexus story started coming out, I've always considered, at least from a design and aesthetic perspective, I always considered NZXT one of the top brands. They look great. They always look real cool and clean. Their cable management is beyond reproach. I've always never heard a dirty word about them until now. So, you know, keep your eyes out on these things, because you never know how the mighty fall. So, you know, more to come there, since the stories haven't finished. Basically, the first story came out, and let me go to the Gamers Nexus site and show it properly. The story first came out, and in so doing, there it is. It started there, and this was like 9 days ago. And by the way, that 9 days ago video has 3.2 million views. Yes, they are at that level. So after that, then of course, because they are at that level, the NZXT CEO responded, and of course, here's the response to the response, which is, hey, that thing is crap. And oh, by the way, just to kind of double back on what we're discussing, you want to check out what they think of Battlemage. They have a deep dive into
that's what I was referring to earlier in the show, right? And if you remember, and just again to give credence again to Gamers Nexus, just the amount of pull they had, when they were going through the whole dongle issue with NVIDIA, that they did that deep dive into the dongle and the burning.
This episode is crazy. Dongle now? Come on, man.
Crazy. I should say the adapter, today? Okay?
Man babies. I'm sorry.
I mean, come on, man.
We're all adults here. Gentlemen.
Really? Are you sure about that? I don't know, man.
But
Pause. No
no,
Diddy Ayo. You know what I'm saying?
they really did a good job as far as a deep dive into why it was potentially happening,
Mhm.
and Nvidia actually eventually took it seriously.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
then they did do a redesign of the
Mhm.
adapter because of Gamers Nexus.
Yep. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And you know, anytime they set their sights on something, it's something. So
Flood, I got good
would-
news for you. I
Mhm.
What's up, bro?
there's a rumor going around that Battlemage is what powers these UFOs we see flying around all over the place. So
Great.
I think Bob Lazar would be very happy right now.
Probably would.
Fantastic. On that note, I think we're done here. Floodzilla, sir, it is always a pleasure to have you here. It is awesome that you could just jump in on here. I know you're not feeling great. You know, thank you so much for sticking with us.
I
Where can the people
appreciate it, man. Thank
find
so
you
much
if they
for
want to
having me.
have some Linux heavy conversation? Where can they find you?
You can find me on that site that's currently known as X at Floodzilla, sir. Just hit me up let's build, let's chat.
Absolutely. Appreciate you being here, man. Mr. Wolf,
Oh, here
another
we go.
week.
You're too late, bro. Too late. I see you,
Slow-mo.
yeah.
I see
You're an
you.
hour and a half late, man.
You're late, bro. You're late. We out. But you know, it's good. It's good to bookend the show with some critical messages. And the last message is AMD's trash. It is what it is. What are we gonna
Exactly.
do?
Hey, I got slander last week, Flood. I'll let you be the puncher bag this week.
There
Listen,
you go.
li-
Wolf,
it-
where can we find you, man?
yeah, man. X, Twitter, not bluey, whatever that thing is called. No, not there yet.
Blue balls, not blue
Yeah,
balls.
exactly. No,
Whoa.
no. That's
Hey
the
yo,
word.
we're gonna continue the tradition right now.
Yeah, no,
If we're here, we might as well keep going. You know.
That's. I mean, I think Flood's gonna have that once he switches over back from Nvidia to something else, but that's fine. But what was I gonna say? X, Twitter, Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, guys. John Wolf, exactly how it reads there. Hit me up. Okay, there's something going on right now on the back end that I see a lot of commotion going on. Supposedly, there is a free revocable key. I guess they're giving away Indiana Jones for free on Humble. Your miles.
kidding?
No, your miles may vary here, and Wario64 says it works, but they'll probably revoke this 100%. But hey, check to see if you can maybe capitalize on this mistake. It says it's 100% free on Humble. So run over there right now.
That is kind of nuts right now. I hope that doesn't eat into. And it is absolutely 100% free.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah,
That is
I'm
nuts.
literally,
looking at it right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna take advantage of it and see what happens.
It probably won't work. But yes. But we didn't really get a chance to speak fully about Indiana Jones. We won't until more people get a chance to play it. But I would say, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't played that game, play that game. Play that game. I really want to have an extensive conversation about that game. Play that game. I want to have spoiler talks about that game. I'm in love with that game.
Have you run into Sully yet? I just need to know.
Oh, here we go.
I have not run into Sully yet, and I have not murdered like
Not
15
Uncharted.
people in
Never
like
play
5 minutes.
Uncharted. If you're
Come
thinking
on.
about playing it like Uncharted, don't do it. Okay, just go play Uncharted. That's what you want
But-
to do.
I have not had to murder murder a bunch of people and then reevaluate myself as an archaeologist and call myself like a murderer machine.
Has first person caused any type of nausea?
I understand
Not
that
at all.
some people have felt that way, and I can understand that, right?
that-
Some people say
wait a
that
minute,
the
wait.
transition's a little clunky, but
I
haven't
didn't know
had
that
any
was a
issues.
thing. I was joking. Is that really a thing? That
No,
people
no
are doing?
doubt, no doubt, it is a thing. Some people have said that the first to third person transition sometimes is a little weird and clunky. Like if you're getting on a stairs, for example, right? You or a ladder, you'll transition to third, and then you'll come to first, and then you'll transition to third, and it's you use your whip. It does the same thing, and some people say that it's just jarring sometimes. It doesn't like it doesn't. It's not really a smooth transition. But I personally, I've played on the Xbox. I tried on the Xbox for a little bit. played it on the this is weird. Played it on the Xbox, played it on the 4090 PC for some time, played it on the 1X Mini, and I also streamed it via xCloud to the Tesla Model 3 desktop, connected the controller and played it there as well. And it
Good
works
night,
in all
folks.
places.
Good night, folks. All right, Slow-Mo.
So there you go.
We're gonna have
So
words,
there you
bro.
go.
All right, so I just tried to check it out. Nah, it was too good to be true. They're on to us. It's giving me an error.
Error 500 error. The
Yeah,
wires are crossed. Yes,
it's
yes.
over.
Shut up and
So-
go buy it. Go buy it. Be
No,
be a good human. Go buy it.
I have Game Pass, sir. I don't-
Or enjoy it on Game Pass. Yes, either way.
yeah,
either way.
nah, I have
Yes,
Game Pass.
yes,
I'll play it on
yes.
there.
Yes. Needless to say, somebody at IGN's parent company is gonna have some trouble. For whoever
Oh, yeah.
like got this thing snuck through. So yeah. Needless to say, Mr. Wolf, Flood, been a great show. Appreciate
Yes.
y'all being here with me. This is one of those innuendo filled shows. A lot of AOs. A lot of baby oil talk.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm gonna
to
go
give
back
us-
and listen to this episode with bottle of scotch and bottle of baby oil. That's for sure.
Wow. Okay. Well,
No
on that
diddler.
note, no diddler. Yeah. No, no diddlering. On that note, shout out to at the top level. Shout out to the 360 folks that were watching this, and that is over 300 people on X on the old Asante X channel. A couple, some more on the YouTube channel, and again, that one solitary viewer that is still watching us from Twitch. Shout out to you. I hope
It's me.
one
You're
day
welcome.
I find out who that is.
It's me.
Anyway, have a good week, all, and we'll talk next week.
Peace.
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 Oh, the slander.